Okay, today I'm doing a quick impromptu video where I'm just going to jump in and mess around with some bebop language. And the big component about bebop language is that what you're really doing is connecting up chord tones. It's not really about modes. It's not really about scales. It's not really about what chords fit with what scales as if they're different things. And here's a tip. Chords are scales and scales are chords. There's no separating them or doing blanketing like that. That's kind of getting into a more modal approach, which doesn't have anything to do with bebop. But today I'm going to mess around with thirds. I'm just going to sit here and mess around with thirds and kind of illustrate how much you can get out of just doing that. What I got going on is I finally finished and am in the process of proofing an entire book on bebop language and how to develop it. And the book is called A Chromatic Approach to Melodic Development. So that's it. 174 pages of nothing but a bunch of different melodic phrases that you can get out of an extremely simple idea. So what ended up happening, just to give you a background, is this is very much centered in the Barry Harris school of melodic development. Specifically, it takes Barry Harris's approach to the chromatic scale. Now, I learned the chromatic scale, I learned the bebop scale, and they were no help whatsoever. I think they completely missed the point of how music works, and I think they're a waste of time. If they do something for you and you get something out of it, that's despite the scale. That probably says more about your ingenuity and your ears than it does about the value of those scales. They miss the point of chromaticism and connecting things up, and strong beats and weak beats and strong measures and weak measures. But Barry Harris, on the other hand, was onto something when he altered and changed marginally, just a marginal little change with the chromatic scale. What ended up happening is I watched a video by a guy named Chris Parks, who his whole channel is about Barry Harris. So if you're into that stuff, go check him out. I'm going to put the link in the description, and I'm also going to put the thumbnail to the specific video that I saw at the end of this video. I sat down and I watched that video, and 15 minutes later, I literally had 104 pages worth of melodic ideas. I mean, they couldn't just nonstop. I could keep going. I could keep going infinitely. That's how crazy strong and powerful this idea is. If you understand intervals, if you understand the major scale, and if you understand arpeggios, this is such a crazy, effective way to put it all together. It's an interesting approach. So I basically took that video, I took Barry Harris's idea about the chromatic scale, and I didn't see any books out there or anything like that, aside from Chris's videos, and also a Jens Larson video that I also watched that was helpful. I would watch both of them to get you going. They'll set the basis, they'll set the tone for how this works. After watching those two, man, I just took that idea and I expanded it like crazy, all over the place, with all kinds of different chord families, all kinds of different everything. But it's not really a theory book. Anyway, I'll talk about the book more later. I don't really care about the book right now. I'm just messing with some thirds today. So let's get into it. Like I said, bebop is all about connecting chord tones. So thinking, connecting thirds, connecting seconds, connecting sevenths, connecting things up, that's what it's all about. And the chromaticism gives you more, everything gets really boring. That gets very sing-songy, very poppy. Rhythm and chromaticism are what rhythm, chromaticism, and connecting chord tones up are kind of the nucleus of what bebop language is all about. So let's mess around with some thirds. Here's the first example. So I'm just going to do something over D minor. I'm going to connect a third. The root, D to F. Just connect it up. A little bit of rhythm. Now over the G7, I'm going to connect G to its third, to B. And then this little bit, connecting B down to G. Now you can connect them, now you can put the whole thing together. So on the D minor, but a little bit of rhythm extends it. G7, back to C. So I'm connecting D to F. On the G7, I'm connecting G to its third B. And then on C major, I'm reversing B down to C. Let's develop another idea where we're connecting thirds. Let's do D up to F. Let's connect F up to A. Now let's go A down a third to F, and then finish it up. So the whole thing would be something like that. That's a nice, decent 2-5-1. Something like that. Here's one more idea. I'm going to connect the 7th of D down to the 5th of D. So C down to A. C, D, B natural, B flat. So that's a nice little phrase right there. And you can carry on. Or, now I'm going to do G down to E. G, G flat, F, G, E. So here's the connecting thirds on D minor. Connecting thirds on G7. Connecting thirds on C major. So the whole thing would be what I could do too is just connect the A from the D minor down to G. So it's not just this now. I could do this. Something like that. You can see. Not bad. Let's do one final one. This is the third one. I'm going to start on the root D for D minor. I'm going to connect up to F. D, D sharp, E, G to get to F. Then I'm going to reverse it. F back down to D. F, G, E, E flat, D. Now I'm going to do G7. So that falls on the downbeat of G7, that D. So I'm going to go down to the third, the B natural, D down to B. So now the whole thing looks like this so far. And then you can kind of tag it out however you want to resolve to C. So let's just make something up. something like that. Or, sorry. There we go. Something else. You can do it all day long, man. So that's what's cool about this stuff, is it never ends. So go check out Jen Larson's video. Go check out Chris Park's video. And then stay tuned for way more. Like, this was just kind of an impromptu scratch improvised video, which wasn't prepared, obviously. But you can see it grows arms and legs quick. And the more I show you how this stuff works, the more freaked out you're going to be. It's awesome. I mean, like I said, I sat down for 15 minutes, and once the idea clicked, I literally had endless pages of ideas. So for composition, it's fantastic. For improv, it's fantastic. Like, once you get this second nature and natural, you'll see what they're talking about. Once it becomes natural, man, you're all over the place. You got bebop. I don't even know what to say. Endless flowing lines. And a little bit of rhythmic variation, and a little bit of, just groove too. Don't forget about rhythm. It's not all just notes. Once you get that down, though, you're going to be a bebop demon. So check it out, and then I'll yap more about my book as soon as the final proof is done and it's available. And it takes you through the whole thing step by step. And it doesn't show you a bunch of licks to memorize. It shows you an idea and how you can come up with endless more ideas on your own. So it's super simple, and it's great. I'm stoked. So later.